Hey, Mike Draper here with AWC TV, and we've got Ryan Kettering with Prolific Prints on board with us today. We're really happy to have him on board. We're going to talk about his business, his design company, and then also his new podcast out about add-on services. This episode brought to you by Ettering, the professional's edge since 1936. Hey Ryan, thanks so much for being on today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day and being with us.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. I appreciate it.
So tell me a little bit about the business that you have. First of all, I want to tell you, both you and I are alum from the same university. I also graduated from the University of Hard Knocks.
When I knew as a young kid that I was always going to be an entrepreneur. So graduated high school in 3 years purposely so I could get out there and get started, and that's when I started my first business, which was in the service industry, similar to the type of people that you and I both work with today. But a couple of years ago, I started doing the graphic design and direct mail and branding and all these sorts of things, and so that's where I'm at now with the Prolific Prints business, and we're just having a lot of fun with that and expanding and working with all kinds of different contractors, carpet cleaners, pressure washers, window cleaners. And some others as well. So,
yeah. I joke sometimes that the guys that are coming up now, I think I talked with Doug Rucker about this. There's these schools and there's these associations, and you get to go get all this training and all this. And man, when I was coming up, you had to go out and you tried something, it worked, it didn't work, and then you try something again, and that's just the way it was. So I'm kind of jealous of these new guys that are coming up in the businesses now. All of them, really, the service industry that get all this free training.
It's amazing. It really is. I didn't have any of that either. I didn't even know there was forums until I was like 9 years into my carpet cleaning business. And it's amazing what's available now. So I did the same as you. I figure every little thing out and make every mistake. And a lot of what we do today now with the marketing and direct mail and branding and things like that is to try to help people, in that same way that I wish I would have had all this knowledge going in. And now I have it, but I had to learn it the hard way, unfortunately. Fortunately, unfortunately, I don't mind learning things the hard way, but there's a saying out there that goes, there's only one thing better than learning from your own mistakes, and that's learning from someone else's mistakes. And I'm a big believer in that for sure. So.
Right. So tell me about Prolific Prints. What do you do exactly? How can you help other people?
Yeah, so we basically help contractors deliver a consistent message that stands out to their customers, and we do that in many different ways. If you were to ask how we actually do that, we do that generally through graphic design, print work, and direct mail. But what we do is we try to help people create a message that's going to stand out and then deliver it through different mediums. And we do help with some online type stuff, but we don't do actual web design. So a lot of what we're doing is direct mail campaigns, brochures and sell sheets, logos, van wraps, different things to help with brand identity, and trying to keep those messages clear, consistent, and help amplify them as well, which is important because obviously you can't get any business if no one knows you exist. And then if your message is all over the place, people aren't really going to understand what your message is. So the first thing is getting in front of people. The second thing is doing it in a way that's clear, consistent, that resonates with the end consumer that's actually receiving these messages. And so that's what we help people do. Many times, contractors that's not really their forte. They're more, hands-on, and we try to help be that addition to their team that they can sort of get some of that high-level work off their plate that needs to be done. But they many times can't do it themselves or don't have the time to do it themselves, and they don't have somebody in their office that can do it. And so we take that on for them. So.
Yeah, and you're I noticed on your profile on that you're from Chicago. And I live in Bloomington, Illinois, by the way. So we're both Illinoisans, both alumni from the same university. We just got a lot in common, Ryan. So, also, you could do that for anybody in the country, right? It's not just something that you could do for a guy in Illinois.
That's correct. Yeah, we have very few customers actually local. Most of our customers are in major markets around the nation, Texas, Florida, the Northeast, California. So we work primarily nationwide. We do have some customers worldwide. So if somebody's catching this here in Australia, Europe, Canada, we'd love to help out as well. A lot of our products actually will ship free to Canada, but our overseas people primarily we help with just the design. But so really we can operate worldwide if the opportunity is there. So
awesome. Well, I've seen some of your work, some of your vehicle wraps and things like that. You guys do a nice job. Very, very keen eye to detail, and so good job there. So you guys had a recent podcast, and the focus of that podcast was add-on services. And, everybody, it seems like, is looking to go somewhere. You got a power washer, he wants to window clean. A window cleaner wants to power wash. Carpet cleaner, whatever. They just want to go somewhere else besides where their business is at. So I primarily talk to window cleaners and power wash guys. That's kind of our audience. What would you say to a company like that was looking at, I know your background is carpet cleaning. What if I was a window cleaner that wanted to add carpet cleaning to my services? What advice would you have for me?
Oh, there's a couple questions that I think I would have right off the bat. One would be, how well is your window cleaning company doing right now? If you're starting something else because your window cleaning company isn't quite where you want it to be, and you're not doing a good volume yet as a standalone business, then I would really question getting into anything else. Now, if you're a window cleaner that is, doing, 500,000 and you've been consistently, growing over a few years and you've started to plateau and you're trying to use some different cross-sell opportunities to get to the next level, I could see that, but it's the idea of how well do you really believe you're doing today in your core business? Because if the decision is based off of you wanting to make a little bit more money or that business isn't quite where you want it to be, then I would say focus on that core offering. The other thing that I would ask somebody thinking about doing this would be, are you prepared to take all of the expenses that you have for your window cleaning and just put a number in their head with that, take all your expenses? Are you prepared to double that so that you can launch this other business? If we think back to when we first start our businesses, it can be very rough to get things sort of moving and gain some momentum. There's a lot of upfront costs and expenses that go along with that. And what people typically are doing, now not everybody, again, if this is an established company that's been around for a while and they're looking to start adding on some more value for their customers because they see some opportunities there, that's a different story. But for a guy that's a few people or a one-man show and he's looking to add on something to supplement his income because it's not really where he would like it to be, what happens is we end up starting that new division based off of taking from the profits from our core business. And so what happens is our new business is relying on the profits from our core business, and everything starts to get, our profits are basically whatever was there starts to deplete quickly. Now, if you can't get that other, number two leg off the ground pretty quick, then you're going to be in some big trouble. There's an even worse scenario where you have, and it's more tempting and harder to really get people to see this, but I hear all the time where somebody will say, hey, yeah, but listen, I got this account, we do their windows or we do this for them, and they told me that if I can do this for them, they'll give me 80 grand over the next year. And so they have dollar signs in their eyes at that point. They're very greedy in their mindset, and they don't even know it. They're just so blinded by this amount of money that they would be turning away. And here's a problem with that type of scenario is that if you go out and you put in all this money to get started, if that company is 90% of your business or 80% of your business, the problem is that if they drop you for whatever reason, whether it be a week down the road or 6 months down the road, you've been taking profits from your core business to put into this new business to get it started so that you can serve this person. they drop you like a bad habit, and all of a sudden you're left with all these bills, all this equipment you can't use because you weren't prepared to actually treat it as its own business. So that goes back to that second point I was making. Are you prepared to take on all these new expenses and create a completely separate new business? Now, most people think in their head, well, I won't need to because I'll put it under the same name. Well, then it's not going to get off the ground. Okay, you can't just start a business, okay, a completely different offering, and spend zero money, zero time marketing that new offering and have it just all of a sudden, lift off and go amazing, right? So you have some things to think about there in how you're going to do that. And if I was going into a situation where I was going in with a client that was going to be a large chunk, my idea would be, how much revenue do I have to bring in so that this big client will end up being less than 20% of my total revenue for this service? And that's where you have to figure out if you're willing to do what that takes. If that means you have to be a $600,000 company on that division, then you need to be prepared for that. And if that sounds like too big of a number, then it might not be the wisest time to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen several companies through the years where maybe they'll be, and I'm just throwing numbers out there, but you're a $50,000 window cleaning company, and then you think you're going to add something on, and then so now you're a $50,000 carpet cleaning company, and they're going to add something on, and they're a $50,000 pressure washing company. That is a nightmare business right there, an absolute nightmare business, because there's just, like you say, you need to really concentrate on, rather than looking at something else that you're only really going to be able to do halfway. Why not look at the major core of your business and grow it to the fullest extent that it possibly can be? So yeah, dead on there.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I'll throw this little story out there that's related, though not directly related as far as the two types of companies that we're talking about. But when I had my carpet cleaning business and I had started doing graphics, I made this mistake where I was attempting to do two things at once. And when people ask me, because the idea is that if I'm doing 20,000 over here a month, and I add on this other thing, and I could do another 20,000, then I'm going to all of a sudden be doing 40,000. And if I add on a third thing, I'm going to be doing 60,000. That's the idea that looks good on paper. But what we find out is that we really can't do all things at high capacity. And so regardless of whether we understand it or not, we're not progressing as quickly as we could. So when I shut down the carpet cleaning business to focus on the graphics business, my income within 1 month, within 30 days, literally tripled. And it wasn't, I'm not talking about, $100 to $300 in sales. It was, I was already doing pretty good numbers, but just turning off one switch and cranking that other one up to 100 really just immediately impacted my business and my income dramatically right off the bat. And that was just from me focusing. I didn't add more people at that point. I didn't have any other tools or marketing that swayed that. That was just me turning my attention from two things 50-50 to one thing 100.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a mistake I made too. We were window cleaning wise, and we were a pretty successful company, and we decided that we were going to add carpet cleaning. And we thought, oh, this is perfect because we've already got the client base, and we'll be able to, the guys, while they're there cleaning windows, they'll just go ahead and take care of the carpets too. So again, that looks wonderful on paper. But then what we got, as you probably know, in the window cleaning business, if you got a route to do that morning, and we did a lot of restaurants, so we would knock out 6, 7, 8 restaurants in a morning. Well, there's no way I can stop the guy for the 2 hours that it's going to take to clean the carpets and make that a profitable deal. He's got 8 restaurants to do. But again, on paper, it looked great. It's like, oh yeah, while we're there, that truck stopped. We'll just go ahead and maximize revenue. It was a disaster. It was a nightmare. So I definitely get what you're saying. How does a person get in touch with you if they wanted to use your graphic artwork or anything like that?
The best place is our website. It's prolificprints, PRINTS.com. They can find me on Facebook and the boards too. We will be. Are you guys going on the show?
We are.
Okay, so they'll if anybody, I don't know when this launches, but if anybody wants to stop by, we'll have a booth down there at the UAMCC convention. And yeah, just the website's the best spot. There's a live chat on there, and they can, interact with us there and see our work and things like that.
Well, Ryan, what I really appreciate is I always appreciate professionals that have kind of been there and done that, and they're out there helping other guys. Your podcast is great. Your the graphic business that you got, I've seen some of your work there. It looks awesome as well. I really thank you for coming on board with us, and thank you for the wonderful job that you're doing out there online. And we hope to see you at one of these shows somewhere soon.
Hey, sounds good. Thanks, Michael.
All right. Thank you so much. Hey, there it is. Ryan Kettering, Prolific Prints. If you can use his services, get out there and do so. And we'll see you all later. I'm Mike with AWC TV, signing off. Stay tuned for our next episode of AWC TV by following us on YouTube, Facebook, or our website, awcmag.com.